So we have an information today about a counter-terrorism operation that happened in GAO. So now I'm going to be taking you guys through how it happened sequentially from the start to the finish, right? So earlier today, I kind of believe that after we debunked the whole 50 imaginary kills that did not exist, the JNIM now went on an attack spree. They wanted to prove a point that okay, now we can do a real attack. And most of this assault has been unsuccessful. So today what they did was, according to the information we heard, they said the terrorists had an external satellite surveillance intel about that particular barracks. It was a huge barrack, right? It was a huge military barrack, and they had good intel. But what they had to do before they get to the barrack, because the barrack had a lot of troops, right, of different regiments. So what they had to do was they started attacking the checkpoints. For those of you that have been seeing different, you will know that there has been attack on several checkpoints en route to that particular barrack. So what the troops did was they just avoided, an exchange of fire, because this came in large number, both on bikes and on trucks, that has been supplied to them by those that were, financing and funding them. So information had already reached the military barracks that these terrorists were coming, right? So what the soldiers did was, the terrorists did not come through the main gate. They attacked the rear flank of the GAO barrack. And in the video, you will see the main fortification of the south side of the barrack. So what they did was they were coming at the barrack from the bush side and they were shooting. So what the Malians did was, and this is how the main, let's go to how the JNIM attack place, how they attack, right? The JNIM, they do a feasibility study of the number of troops you have, and they come with twice or three times that number. They like sending a kind of mental message to the psyche of their opponents, like, we are coming with overwhelming numbers. But overwhelming number does not necessarily translate into overwhelming firepower, right? So what they did was they were coming, the cameraman, everybody, they were moving. Some were shooting, some were not shooting. I believe some of them were not shooting so as to save ammo. So what the Malian forces did was, according to the information we had, most of the most experienced combatants were gathered at the middle, because it's a very wide barrack. So most of the most experienced troops were gathered at the middle of the base, and majority of the Malian forces were sent to the flanks. So what the terrorists did was, the only place they were seeing a return fire from was the middle. And as a result of the experience of those troops at the middle, they were saving their hammer, they were saving fire. They were not really shooting sporadically. But most of the shots was to deter the terrorists' advance. So you could see in the video that the terrorists were not moving that fast. They were shooting, So majority of the terrorists were attacking the central parts where you have the return fire coming from. So the deterrence saved the Malians more time for them to call the backup. Now you could see the speed at which the chopper was going. They already called for detachment even before they knew that the terrorists were coming. So they had time to plan. So by the time the reinforcements came, they came with their armored vehicles and all of that. The barrack was fully fortified. The guys from the flank opened fire from both flanks. So they flanked the JNIM in their numbers. The Barrack Turkish drone came in, launched area strikes. Now the area strikes was not launched at the major concentration of the JNIM troops that were already close to the barrack. They covered them from the rear, like they covered them from the back. So the troops flanked them with different shots. So it was maximum casualty. It was one of the most devastating assaults that I've seen. Actually, they had a good plan from incursion. I mean, in fact, I believe that those that funded them, those that gave them the satellite surveillance intel, they actually had a good plan. But ladies and gentlemen, how good was that plan? Because this is the most, should I call it a trap? It's the JNIM had a plan for an ambush. The Malians had a plan for a trap. And that was a very, very successful trap. And at the end of the day, you guys could see in the video that we posted, it was a barbecue job. That was not a regular operation. It was because I actually posted it because if I'm trying to put it in this video, it won't fly because the algorithm will, because of the gore that will be showed. So a lot of terrorists were neutralized, and it was the level of neutralization. Now this will have a psychological effect on the terrorists. It will have a psychological effect, like the number of troops they lost, the fashion in which they lost the troops. Do you know what I'm saying? Now, a change of tactics, unlike what they've been seeing from the Malians. They've never, I don't think, for most of the operations I've been seeing, I've never seen the Malians deploy this particular tactics, right? Because shooting from the middle, from the central part of the base, made the JNIM believe that, okay, this is one of those camps that is not fully fortified. Maybe they had a doubt about the intelligence, information they received, that okay, this is not really too fortified and we can easily overrun the base, right? So they concentrated on that central part, not knowing that majority of the major assault was going to come from the flank and from the area firepower. So like, this is one of those situations where the Malians had to show superiority with a very fearsome firepower, and the shooting was actually precise. I mean, I was seeing some level of precision shot, because if you see some of the cadavers, right, you could see that some of them, they had no cephal, like the head was gone. It was a devastating assault, and the whole floor was like, you could see the pounding, like the stamps of the pound from the Barrack drone. And ladies and gentlemen, this is one of those attacks where the Malians have been able to send a message across that, look, we are ready, we are staying ready, and we are at alert. And a lot of people will ask, why always Mali, right? Apart from the resources that Mali has, Mali is big, right? They have different type of military detachments and all of that. But if you walk through Mali, capturing Burkina Faso will be easy for you. Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, those guys are really helping Africa. A lot of people, I've gotten a lot of people asking me, what is my point? Why am I supporting this movement? The reason why I'm supporting the movement is I've seen the capacity of our military. I don't think, based on what I'm seeing, that our military can contest with that number. And that's, that thing that we're seeing in the Sahel is actually scary. And the Malians are investing blood, sweat, and tears for the entire sons and daughters of Africa. So we have to appreciate it. I pay much respect to the farmers of Mali and to the VDP's Rapid Intervention Brigade in Burkina Faso, the fan of Niger Republic. These guys are really putting in a lot of work, and I want to pay massive respect to them. So guys, what do you think about this military tactics? Do you think it's now time for the farmers to plan another strategy, or do you think this is a strategy that can really work effectively for a very long time? But so far so good. The Barrack attack drone has always proved to be a very fearsome tool of enormous assaults. So you can actually drop your opinion in the comment section below. More wins and more lose, more defeats to France. Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy 72 Andre signing out in offset. Before I go, this is true sovereignty right here. This is true sovereignty right here. What do you think? I'll see you on the next video.